Hell is not a pit of flames beneath the earth. It is not red devils with pitchforks tormenting the damned. Hell is closer, quieter, more intimate. It lives in you. Pride swelling in your chest like a crown of fire. Wrath burning behind your eyes until it blinds. Greed whispering at night, promising more, demanding everything. Lust surging like fever, devouring peace. Envy coiling in silence, corroding joy. Sloth smothering ambition in velvet chains. Gluttony drowning spirit in excess, until nothing satisfies. These are not sins carved on tablets of morality. They're living gates, 7 thrones in the Infernal Court, each guarded by a prince whose name you already know. Lucifer, radiant with pride. Satan, roaring with wrath. Mammon, clinking gold between bloody fingers. Asmodeus, breathing lust like perfume. Leviathan, serpent of envy, winding in depths. Belphegor, slouched in stillness, feeding on wasted time. Beelzebub, bloated with endless hunger, swarms buzzing around his throne. They are not caricatures from cartoons or sermons. They are archetypes, forces of psyche that demand recognition. What if the 7 princes were never distant demons, but fragments of yourself? What if hell is not where you go after death, but where you already live when you refuse to face them? So ask yourself, when you stand before the 7 thrones, will you cower in denial, or step forward and confront the infernal mirrors of your soul? When theologians and poets spoke of hell, they rarely described chaos. Dante did not write of a pit where monsters roamed without order. Milton did not imagine devils wandering without command. Instead, they pictured hierarchy and infernal court, kingdom of fire and shadow ruled with the same precision as any empire above. For even in damnation, there is structure. The 7 princes of hell are not scattered phantoms. They are thrones, pillars of shadow, an architecture of evil. Imagine vast obsidian hall, arches carved from black stone, banners of smoke unfurling endlessly. At its center, 7 thrones blaze, each burning with distinct hue. A crown of gold aflame, a serpent coil of emerald, a storm of crimson fire. Around them legions kneel, lesser spirits, archetypes, obsessions ordered in ranks. The princes preside not as chaotic beasts, but as rulers, each governing domain of the psyche. Lucifer enthroned in brilliance, presiding over pride and sovereignty. Satan roars as general of wrath, his throne echoing with storms. Mammon clutches treasury, throne built from coins fused with bone. Asmodeus sits enthroned in perfume and fire, his court of desire unending. Leviathan coils in abyssal waters, envy flowing through endless depths. Belphegor reclines on broken timepieces, feeding on inertia. Beelzebub bloats upon throne of rot, flies buzzing in endless chorus. This is not chaos. It is order inverted. Why 7? Because the human psyche organizes itself in 7s. 7 days of creation, 7 heavens, 7 deadly sins, 7 chakras in Eastern systems. The number recurs because it marks rhythm of life, the architecture of consciousness itself. In the Infernal Court, 7 archetypes map 7 fractures of soul. Each prince embodies not only sin, but gate, not only temptation, but lesson. Together they compose architecture of shadow, comprehensive, systemic. Consider how they mirror virtues inverted. Pride as distorted dignity, wrath as corrupted justice, greed as twisted ambition, lust as disordered passion, envy as shattered aspiration, sloth as perverted stillness, gluttony as devouring gratitude. Each is not alien to humanity. Each is human drive, inverted, enthroned, worshipped unconsciously. The Infernal Court is less foreign empire and more mirror of human kingdom. Sensory fragments make it real. Hear clang of Mammon's coins echoing like chains. Smell Asmodeus smoke heavy with perfume and sweat. Feel icy coils of Leviathan constrict ribs with every breath. Taste bitterness of envy, sweetness turns sour. Sea flies swarm around Beelzebub's mouth, endless hunger reflected in buzzing. The Infernal Court is not mythic far away. It is sensory architecture of your own impulses, built from hungers you cannot name. Dante mapped his inferno in concentric circles, each sin assigned punishment. Yet at heart it was blueprint. The damned arranged, catalogued, imprisoned, not randomly, but with precision. His Satan, frozen, wings beating uselessly, mirrored law of inversion, pride shattered, sovereignty destroyed. His Inferno was not story of monsters, it was story of architecture. The Godia had 72. Christianity streamlined into 7 pillars, but the principle remained. Evil is organized, shadows structured, darkness hierarchical. The church understood power of naming and hierarchy. By codifying 7 deadly sins, they crystallized Infernal Court in minds of millions. To confess pride, wrath, greed, lust, envy, sloth. Gluttony was to recognize domain of princes, even as one was told to flee them. Religion condemned, but in condemning, preserved architecture. The names endured, thrones maintained. Modern world continues architecture unconsciously. Boardrooms of greed mirror Mammon's court. Wars fueled by wrath echo Satan's command. Influencer culture parades Lucifer's pride. Advertising sells Asmodeus' lust. Social media churns Leviathan's envy. Algorithms feed Belphegor's inertia. Markets thrive on Beelzebub's consumption. The 7 thrones stand not in hell below, but in institutions above, presiding silently. Awareness reveals inversion. The Infernal Court is not hidden, it is blueprint humanity lives daily. Each prince enthroned in heart of modern ritual, each gate opened by human hand. Architecture persists not because demons reign, but because humans build. 7 thrones are mirrors, and society kneels willingly before them. So ask yourself, when you rage, consume, envy, slouch, or boast, whose throne do you bow before? Which prince sits in your marrow? The Infernal Court is not distant. It is the system already alive in you. The 7 thrones blaze. The architecture of evil stands complete. Symbols are not decoration. They are weapons, passwords, maps. The 7 princes of hell are remembered not only by name but by images. Each one a glyph etched into psyche, each one a living sigil burned into collective unconscious. To see their symbols is to recognize them within yourself, even if you never spoke their names. Lucifer's emblem is the radiant crown, sometimes drawn a sigil of the morning star. His symbol shines, fractured into mirror shards. Crown and mirror together reveal inversion. Sovereignty that blinds, pride reflected endlessly until self becomes idol. To dream of shattered mirrors or blinding light is to walk in his shadow. The crown is not mere ornament, it is a glyph of distorted dignity. Satan's symbol is the flaming sword, brandished with storms. In some traditions, he carries lightning, in others, a serpent of fire. The sword cuts and burns, representing wrath unleashed. It is justice inverted, law without mercy. The sword is also storm, chaos that consumes. To feel thunder in chest, to see fire in eyes of anger is to glimpse his glyph etched in marrow. Mammon's seal is the coin, but not gold in it, is coin melting into blood. His emblem often appears as scales overflowing, treasure hoarded until it poisons. Greed is symbol of endless hunger disguised as wealth. In dreams, coins clinking, metal dripping, vaults overflowing, these are Mammon's glyphs haunting unconscious. They speak of sacrifice of vitality for illusion of abundance. Asmodeus' symbols are serpents and fire, intertwined with sensual perfumes. He is painted with 3 heads bull man, Ramach representing desire unleashed. His glyph is burning flesh, fever that consumes peace. The serpent coil, the curve of body, the perfume rising from flamall, speak his name. Desire itself becomes sigil, lust as geometry traced in sweat and shadow. Leviathan's symbol is endless sea, serpent coils without end. In Kabbalah, Leviathan is chaos, abyss, envy as ocean with no shore. The glyph is Ouroboros, twisted wrong. Serpent not nourishing itself but strangling. Green fire and water spiraling downward mark his domain. Dreams of drowning, visions of coils tightening, these are glyphs of envy consuming. Belphegor's emblem is broken clock, stagnant water, throne of idleness. He is invoked by stillness that smothers, innovation wasted time leaking away. The glyph is open mouth, yawning, hourglass overturned, machinery rusted. To feel inertia settle like chains, to see stagnant pools and dream, these are Belphegor's symbols pressing upon soul. Beelzebub's symbol is swarm, flies buzzing, mouths never filled. His glyph is bloated belly, endless table, consumption turned grotesque. Ancient seals show him with fly's head, wings humming like plague. His emblem is hunger devouring itself, consumption without satisfaction. To hear buzzing in silence, to feel craving that never ends, is to glimpse his glyph at work. Together, these symbols form language of shadow. Crown, sword, coin, serpent, sea, clock, swarm, 7 glyphs, 7 passwords. They speak without words, bypass conscious mind, inscribe themselves into dream and ritual. The church drew them as warnings. The grimoires recorded them as seals. Culture repeats them in logos, in films, in art. Humanity sees them daily, never noticing their origin. Sensory fragments reveal their presence. It's advertisements shimmering with crowns of pride. It's films dripping with wrath, fire, storm. It's coins flashing in corporate logos. Serpents coiled in branding. Oceans used to sell envy. Clocks and delays designed to feed inertia. Food and excess marketed with buzzing repetition. The glyphs remain. The rituals continue. Dante inscribed them in poetry. Pride punished by broken mirrors. Wrath swept by storms. Greed drowned in molten wealth. Lust scorched in fire. Envy frozen in ice. Longing never fulfilled. Sloth submerged in filth. Gluttony gorged without end. His imagery was not random. It was language of symbols preserved for centuries, archetypes coded into eternity. Occultists whisper that to master these glyphs is to read forbidden alphabet of psyche. To trace Lucifer's crown consciously is to reclaim dignity from pride. To wield Satan's sword with awareness is to channel wrath into justice. To see Mammon's coin as blood is to release greed's grip. Each symbol enslaves or liberates depending on awareness. The glyphs are mirrors. Fear them, and they control you. Recognize them, and you control yourself. So ask yourself, how many of these symbols surround you daily? How many crowns worshipped on screens? How many swords swung in outrage? How many coins chased until blood runs thin? How many serpents whispered in flesh? How many hours bled into inertia? How many cravings swarmed around your soul? The glyphs are alive, written across world and within you. The 7 princes speak in symbols, and you have been fluent all along. Every throne demands oath. The 7 princes do not simply lurk, waiting to pounce. They demand covenant. To live in their shadow is to sign contract, whether in blood, in breath, or in silence. Each act repeated, each obsession indulged, each hunger fed his claws written into pact. You need not hold quill, you need not draw circle. To live unconsciously is enough. The Infernal Court is court of law, and its contracts are binding. Lucifer, Prince of Pride, seals contract when you worship your reflection. Every boast is signature. Every moment of superiority, clause renewed. The pact promises sovereignty, yet delivers isolation. You gain crown, but lose kingdom. The mirror becomes parchment, and your pride is ink. Satan, Prince of Wrath, signs through rage. Each outburst is covenant. Every grudge clause carved deeper. His pact offers power, strength, fearlessness. In truth, it drains peace, destroys bridges, leaves you sovereign over ruins. The fire you unleash is not only battlefield, it is binding oath to throne of storms. Mammon, Lord of Greed, binds contract through pursuit of more. Every late night at desk, every compromise of health, every dream mortgaged for coin, these are signatures. His contract promises wealth, comfort, control. Its hidden clause demands youth, time, vitality. His treasury swells with hours of your life, each coin stamped with your pulse. Asmodeus, master of lust, seals contract in flesh. Each obsession, each pursuit of desire at cost of wholeness, his clause signed. His pact promises pleasure, intimacy, ecstasy. In truth, it leaves emptiness, hunger unending, vitality drained. Every night of indulgence becomes ink across parchment of soul. Leviathan, serpent of envy, binds oath in silence. Every comparison, every jealousy whispered inward, becomes clause. His pact promises justice, balance, fairness. In truth, it corrodes joy, poisons gratitude, suffocates heart. The coils are not chains from without, they are terms signed within. Belphegor, Prince of Sloth, contracts through inaction. Every hour wasted, every dream delayed, every choice postponed is silent signature. His pact promises rest, comfort, relief. In truth, it devours potential, chains future, leaves throne of stagnation. Your time is his ink, your idleness, his claws. Beelzebub, Lord of Gluttony, demands contract at table. Every excess, every indulgence, every craving surrendered to, is covenant renewed. His pact promises satisfaction, fullness, pleasure. In truth, it enslaves hunger, weakens body, numbs spirit. Every bite becomes oath, every feast a signature. Sensory fragments reveal the law. The silence after rage when nothing remains but exhaustion. The echo of coins dropped while health declines. The fever fading to emptiness after lust. The bitterness after envy corrodes heart. The heavy stillness after sloth consumes day. The nausea after indulgence leaves body trembling. These are receipts, clauses enforced. Dante too encoded contracts. His damned repeat rituals endlessly because they signed unwittingly. Prideful toppled forever, wrathful fighting in swamps, greedy pushing weights, lustful swept by storms. Each punishment is pact clause enacted. Hell is not chaos, it is legal enforcement of unconscious oaths. Modern world runs on same covenants. Terms of service clicked, debts signed, vows made and broken. But deeper still are invisible contracts. Outrage cycles renewing Satan's pact. Consumerism fueling Mammon, media feeding Asmodeus and Beelzebub, social networks enthroning Lucifer and Leviathan, algorithms breeding Belphegor's inertia. Humanity lives in cathedral of contracts, each click a clause, each scroll a signature. Occultists whisper paradox. Contracts can enslave, but also awaken. To sign unconsciously is bondage. To negotiate consciously is initiation. To face Lucifer knowingly transforms pride into dignity. To channel Satan turns wrath into justice. To discipline Mammon transmutes greed into ambition. The contracts remain, but awareness changes authorship. You move from pawn to sovereign, from slave to architect. So ask yourself, which princes hold your contracts already? Which oaths have you signed without ink? Which legions enforce your choices? The Infernal Court is not waiting to seduce. It's waiting to enforce terms you already agreed to. The only question is whether you will awaken and renegotiate or remain bound in silence forever. Every throne demands oath. The 7 princes do not simply lurk, waiting to pounce. They demand covenant. To live in their shadow is to sign contract, whether in blood, in breath, or in silence. Each act repeated, each obsession indulged, each hunger fed is clause written into pact. You need not hold quill, you need not draw circle. To live unconsciously is enough. The Infernal Court is court of law, and its contracts are binding. Lucifer, Prince of Pride, seals contract when you worship your reflection. Every boast is signature, every moment of superiority, clause renewed. The pact promises sovereignty, yet delivers isolation. You gain crown, but lose kingdom. The mirror becomes parchment, and your pride is ink. Satan, Prince of Wrath, signs through rage. Each outburst is covenant, every grudge clause carved deeper. His pact offers power, strength, fearlessness. In truth, it drains peace, destroys bridges, leaves you sovereign over ruins. The fire you unleash is not only battlefield, it is binding oath to throne of storms. Mammon, Lord of Greed, binds contract through pursuit of more. Every late night at desk, every compromise of health, every dream mortgaged for coin, these are signatures. His contract promises wealth, comfort, control. Its hidden clause demands youth, time, vitality. His treasury swells with hours of your life, each coin stamped with your pulse. Asmodeus, master of lust, seals contract in flesh. Each obsession, each pursuit of desire at cost of wholeness, his clause signed. His pact promises pleasure, intimacy, ecstasy. In truth, it leaves emptiness, hunger unending. vitality drained. Every night of indulgence becomes ink across parchment of soul. Leviathan, serpent of envy, binds oath in silence. Every comparison, every jealousy whispered inward, becomes claws. His pact promises justice, balance, fairness. In truth, it corrodes joy, poisons gratitude, suffocates heart. The coils are not chains from without, they are terms signed within. Belphegor, prince of sloth, contracts through inaction. Every hour wasted, every dream delayed, every choice postponed is silent signature. His pact promises rest, comfort, relief. In truth, it devours potential, chains future, leaves throne of stagnation. Your time is his ink, your idleness, his claws. Beelzebub, lord of gluttony, demands contract at table. Every excess, every indulgence, every craving surrendered to, is covenant renewed. His pact promises satisfaction, fullness, pleasure. In truth, it enslaves hunger, weakens body, numbs spirit. Every bite becomes oath, every feast a signature. Sensory fragments reveal the law. The silence after rage when nothing remains but exhaustion. The echo of coins dropped while health declines. The fever fading to emptiness after lust. The bitterness after envy corrodes heart. The heavy stillness after sloth consumes day. The nausea after indulgence leaves body trembling. These are receipts, clauses enforced. Dante too encoded contracts. His damned repeat rituals endlessly because they signed unwittingly. Prideful toppled forever, wrathful fighting in swamps, greedy pushing weights, lustful swept by storms. Each punishment is pact clause enacted. Hell is not chaos, it is legal enforcement of unconscious oaths. Modern world runs on same covenants. Terms of service clicked, debts signed, vows made and broken. But deeper still are invisible contracts. Outrage cycles renewing Satan's pact. Consumerism fueling Mammon, media feeding Asmodeus and Beelzebub, social networks enthroning Lucifer and Leviathan, algorithms breeding Belphegor's inertia. Humanity lives in cathedral of contracts, each click a clause, each scroll a signature. Occultists whisper paradox. Contracts can enslave, but also awaken. To sign unconsciously is bondage. To negotiate consciously is initiation. To face Lucifer knowingly transforms pride into dignity. To channel Satan turns wrath into justice. To discipline Mammon transmutes greed into ambition. The contracts remain, but awareness changes authorship. You move from pawn to sovereign, from slave to architect. So ask yourself, which princes hold your contracts already? Which oaths have you signed without ink? Which legions enforce your choices? The Infernal Court is not waiting to seduce. It's waiting to enforce terms you already agreed to. The only question is whether you will awaken and renegotiate or remain bound in silence forever. The greatest prison is not built of iron, but of morality inverted. To control, you do not need chains, you need to rename instincts. Call ambition greed, and men will bow. Call sovereignty pride, and women will silence themselves. Call desire lust, and lovers will shame their hunger. Call righteous anger wrath, and rebels will break upon themselves. The 7 princes of hell are not monsters chained in fire, they are human drives recast as demons by inversion of code. The church perfected this spell. It labeled them the 7 deadly sins, carving names onto soul as warnings. Lucifer became pride-fallen star, lesson in arrogance. Satan became wrath flame without virtue. Mammon became greed and ode of coin. Asmodeus became lust sin of flesh. Leviathan became envy serpent of corrosion. Belphegor became sloth waster of ours. Beelzebub became gluttonous swarm of appetite. By condemning them, religion did not destroy their power, it preserved them in chains, ensuring no one integrated their lessons. Humanity remained fractured, half of self-branded unholy, half demanded to kneel. Yet culture never abandoned them, inverted again, commodifying what faith condemned. Lucifer's pride became influencer culture, selling sovereignty as image. Satan's wrath became outrage industry, profiting from anger loops. Mammon's greed became capitalism's engine, dressed as ambition. Asmodeus' lust became advertising and pornography, selling flesh and fantasy. Leviathan's envy became social media algorithms, endless scroll feeding hunger for what others possess. Belphegor's sloth became engineered addictions, binge cycles disguised as leisure. Beelzebub's gluttony became fast food empires, industries built on excess. Religion demonized, culture monetized, both inverted. Sensory fragments of inversion surround you daily. The sermon that declares your hunger sin, it's the billboard that sells same hunger back to you. The influencer posing with crown of pride, audience worshipping image. The politician screaming with wrath, media amplifying storm. The endless ads promising desire fulfilled, envy sharpened, hunger fed, inertia comforted. You were told to fear the princes and, in same breath, invited to serve them. Dante's Inferno was catechism of inversion. Each archetype condemned eternally. Prideful, crushed, wrathful, drowned, greedy burdened, lustful, swept. Envious frozen, slothful submerged, gluttonous devoured. Yet his verses also preserved them, inscribed images in imagination forever. Hell became museum of inversion, humanity walking through, repeating moral code without questioning its origin. The cost of inversion is fragmentation. What is condemned is repressed. What is repressed festers. Pride denied becomes narcissism. Wrath denied becomes passive aggression. Lust denied becomes obsession. Greed denied becomes corruption. Envy denied becomes bitterness. Sloth denied becomes despair. Gluttony denied becomes addiction. Archetypes do not vanish when branded evil. They return in shadows, stronger, hungrier. The inversion enslaves not by destroying, but by ensuring you never integrate. Occultists whisper that to break spell of inversion is to see clearly. Pride, when faced, becomes dignity. Wrath becomes justice. Greed becomes ambition to build. Lust becomes passion for union. Envy becomes awareness of lack and desire for growth. Sloth becomes stillness, reflection, retreat. Gluttony becomes hunger transmuted into gratitude. Each prince offers gift hidden beneath curse, mirror behind mask. To invert is to enslave. To integrate is to awaken. So ask yourself, how many of your instincts have been renamed as sins? How often have you condemned your hunger only to be sold it again by culture? How many mirrors have been smashed before you dared to look? The seven princes were never destroyers of humanity. They were fragments of it. The inversion made you believe otherwise. Till you awaken, you live inside cage of morality, reversed, shackled not by demons, but by your own fear of them. The mistake is to imagine ritual as candles and robes, circles of chalk and midnight incantations. The truth is more dangerous. Rituals are everywhere, performed unconsciously, repeated daily. Every act repeated with devotion becomes liturgy. Every cycle of habit is invocation. The seven princes of hell are not summoned only in catacombs. They are invoked in bedrooms, offices, stadiums, and glowing screens. Humanity is their priesthood, officiating without knowing. Lucifer's mass is held in mirror of pride, selfie repeated, the image curated, the throne of likes and followers. This is altar of sovereignty distorted. Each post is chant, each boast offering. Crowns shine in pixels, and Lucifer smiles from throne of vanity. The ritual is not secret. It is public, endless, celebrated. Satan's liturgy is outrage. Online comment sections boiling with wrath, mobs chanting in streets, voices raised until they blur into storm. Every shout is invocation, every clenched fist a prayer. Anger becomes incense, flames rise higher. His altar burns not with candles, but with screens glowing red, headlines feeding fury like holy writ. Mammon's temple is workplace, mall, marketplace. Each swipe of card, each contract signed, each hour sacrificed is invocation of greed. Ritual bells are cash registers, hymns are marketing slogans. Entire cities kneel before Mammon, skyscrapers his steeples, banks his cathedrals. Every paycheck, tithe, every sleepless night offering. Asmodeus is worshipped in lust, disguised as entertainment. Advertisements dripping with flesh, screens flashing desire, industries built on obsession. Every click on forbidden image is chant, every purchase pact renewed. Bedrooms become altars, perfume smoke as incense, desire repeated ritual until body bleeds vitality. Leviathan's rites unfold in endless scrolling. Social feeds designed to sharpen envy. Every comparison invocation, every jealousy offering. Dreams corrode as coils tighten. His ocean is digital, waves of envy crashing across eyes until peace drowned. The ritual is invisible, yet inescapable, each swipe gesture of devotion. Belphegor's mass is idleness engineered. Hours vanished in binge cycles. Time wasted on glow of screens. Procrastination as covenant. Couch becomes altar, comfort blanket as vestment. Every delayed dream, every abandoned project is him to throne of inertia. He feeds not on blood spilled, but on futures dissolved. Beelzebub's liturgy is consumption. Fast food unwrapped like offerings, drinks gulped as communion, binges as sacraments. The swarm buzzes in supermarkets, wings humming in advertisements. Every bite beyond need, every craving indulged, every feast of excess is covenant renewed. The body becomes altar, appetite high priest. Sensory fragments make the truth clear. The glow of screen lighting face at 3 a.m., eyes hollow, body drained. The roar of stadium crowd, wrath chanted as him. The hum of fluorescent lights over endless aisles of goods, shoppers kneeling before shelves. The silence of room where time bleeds into sloth. The buzzing neon sign promising satisfaction, swarm disguised as feast. These are not random acts. They are rituals, unconscious and global. Dante showed same in his Inferno. His damned did not escape their rituals. The wrathful fought forever, the lustful whirled endlessly, the gluttonous devoured without pause. Hell was repetition without awareness, ritual calcified into torment. The same is true now. Modern humanity repeats liturgies daily, feeding archetypes unconsciously. Occultists whisper paradox. Ritual is not evil, it is engine. To invoke unconsciously is to be enslaved. To invoke consciously is to transform. Pride-faced becomes dignity. Wrath channeled becomes justice. Greed directed becomes creation. Lust sublimated becomes passion. Envy recognized becomes growth. Sloth reframed becomes stillness. Gluttony transmuted becomes gratitude. Ritual remains, but intention rewrites liturgy. So ask yourself, what rituals did you perform today without knowing? Did you scroll envy's ocean? Did you tithe hours to Mammon's temple? Did you bow before Lucifer's mirror? Did you rage in Satan's storm, feast in Beelzebub's swarm, dissolve time into Belphegor's stillness? You do not need grimoires. You are already officiating. The only question is whether you recognize altar where you kneel. Awakening begins with fracture. One day the mirror does not simply reflect your face, it cracks, and behind the fissures you glimpse 7 thrones burning in shadow. For centuries you were told they sat in hell, distant and monstrous. Yet when the veil lifts, you see they have always been seated inside you. The 7 princes of hell are not demons waiting at gates of afterlife. They are archetypes, fragments of psyche exiled by inversion, ruling silently from within. Lucifer's pride is not foreign, it is your hunger for dignity distorted. Satan's wrath is not alien, it is your righteous anger untempered. Mammon's greed is your ambition unrefined. Asmodeus' lust is your passion unbalanced. Leviathan's envy is your longing for growth poisoned. Belphegor's sloth is your need for rest corrupted. Beelzebub's gluttony is your hunger for life left unchecked. They're mirrors, not monsters. They reflect what you repress, and until you see them, they govern unseen. Religion taught you to flee them. Culture taught you to indulge them. Neither taught you to integrate. And so you lived in fragmentation, half self-condemned, half self-consumed. This is how the Infernal Court ruled. Not by claws or chains, but by your refusal to claim throne of your own soul. They sat because you would not. But awakening shifts the order. To face Lucifer is to reclaim dignity without arrogance. To stand before Satan is to wield wrath as justice, not destruction. To confront Mammon is to harness ambition into creation, not decay. To meet Asmodeus is to transform lust into passion that unites rather than devours. To uncoil Leviathan is to turn envy into vision for growth. To sit with Belphegor is to reclaim stillness as reflection. not inertia. To transform Beelzebub is to make hunger into gratitude. The thrones do not vanish. They are filled by you. The princes dissolve when you embody what they distorted. Sensory fragments of awakening burn vivid. In dream, you approach throne of pride, and instead of demon, you see yourself crowned, but crown glows with light of dignity. You stand before storm of wrath, and flames turn into torch of justice. You descend into Mammon's vault, coins melting into tools of creation. You gaze at Asmodeus, and serpent of lust coils into dance of passion. Leviathan's coils unwind into path forward. Belphegor's stagnant pool becomes mirror of reflection. Beelzebub's swarm transforms into feast of gratitude, table set with just enough. These are not fantasies, they are symbols of integration, whispers of sovereignty regained. Dante hinted at this path. His pilgrim walked through circles of hell, naming sins, but he did not stay. He saw, he acknowledged, and he ascended. The damned repeated unconsciously, enslaved. The pilgrim integrated consciously, liberated.
Hell was not destination, but passage.
Not prison, but mirror. His journey encoded truth. The only way out is through. Modern echoes confirm it. Psychologists speak of shadow work, Jung wrote. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Each prince is shadow, each sin exile. To awaken is to see them not as curses, but as teachers. Therapy, reflection, art, ritual, these are modern conjurations, methods of facing archetypes. Integration is not exorcism, but remembrance. Cultists whisper paradox. The princes are terrifying when denied, but dissolve when embraced. The contract breaks not by fleeing, but by rewriting. The blood remains, but it is offered willingly. The rituals continue, but with awareness they transform. The Infernal Court is not destroyed, is transfigured. Thrones do not vanish, they are occupied by awakened self. So ask yourself, which thrones within you stand empty? Which archetypes govern in silence because you will not claim them? Awakening is not banishing demons, but remembering they were fragments of you all along. The 7 princes were never waiting to enslave you, they were waiting to be faced. And when you faced them, you discover the throne was yours from the beginning. The 7 thrones still burn, their shadows waiting in silence. They are not monsters in fire, but fragments of you demanding to return. Step into the court, claim what was exiled, comment your thoughts, subscribe, and prepare. The next descent unveils the black sun and forbidden alchemy of transformation.